President Obama is trying to regain momentum on health care reform, fighting back today by pitching reform on conservative talk radio. He sat down with host Michael Smerconish and answered questions from listeners. The president even went so far as promising a caller health care reform would pass.
I guarantee you, Joe, we are going to get health care reform done. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who've been hand-wringing, and folks in the press are following every little twist and turn of the legislative process. You know, passing a big bill like this is always messy.
Radio offensive comes one day after the president appealed to faith-based groups and criticized all the false information being spread by reform opponents. We talked about the president's moves with former Republican presidential candidate and Congressman Ron Paul earlier today. Congressman Paul, thanks for being with us. I want to play you something that President Obama said today on Michael Smerconish's radio show. Listen.
I would love to have more Republicans engaged and involved in this process. I think early on a decision was made by the Republican leadership that said, look, let's not give him a victory, and maybe we can have a replay of 1993-94 when Clinton came in. He failed on health care, and then we won in the midterm elections, and we got the majority.
Is that what's happening? Are Republican leaders obstructing health care reform in order to make political gains?
I think he's given the Republicans too much credit. I don't think we're that well organized. I think if, orders came from top down and said we're all going to oppose it, I don't think it would happen. But there is partisan squabbling going on, but it's on both sides. So I can't see where one side is more partisan than the other. If people don't agree with one side, they say, oh, you're overly strong partisan, or vice versa. So I don't put a lot of stock in those type of arguments.
What do you think is going to happen if the White House and congressional Democrats try to go it alone, try to just ram through some sort of a bill?
Well, I think they'll pass something, but I don't think they will. I think they'll modify their tone a little bit. They won't try to go for the whole basket. They probably won't want to have a single payer, and they're going to get something, and that's the way we've been doing it for 35, 40 years. We've had incrementalism. This really started as early as the 50s, but really in the 70s, and even under, once you get the conservatives, then, well, we're not supposed to believe in expanding government role, but where was prescription drug program passed under the Republicans? So something will be passed, but I don't think Obama's going to get everything. There's too much anger, and they're angry, and they're convinced that the government can't produce all these promises. They just don't believe the promises. So that's why I think they're going to back off, take what they can get, and a few Republicans will join them. That would be my prediction, but I really don't know for sure, obviously.
So what do you want? I mean, you're not for, obviously, government involvement in health care. But is it realistic to expect private industry to take care of, the 46 million or so Americans who don't have insurance?
Well, under today's circumstances with our tax code, it makes it very difficult. And you have to remember that out of that 46 million who don't have insurance, they include a lot of illegal aliens in there, too. So that complicates the matter. And some of them aren't necessarily in need of it. I even have some people in my family, they don't have it. But people have accepted the notion that medical care cannot be delivered any other way than through government. And I just don't happen to believe that, because governments generally aren't very efficient in what they do.
Finally, has the dialogue, the debate, at least some of what we're seeing at these town hall meetings, people comparing President Obama to Nazi, is that productive? I mean, when you see these images, you hear the people yelling, what do you think?
Well, I think it's very unproductive. I think it's very destructive. And you know me well enough that I was never supportive of much of what George Bush did, and I really didn't like his foreign policy. But generally speaking, whenever I wrote, if you look at all my speeches, I probably never bring up partisan politics when I'm on the House floor or talk about President Bush this, or Obama this, or Obama that. So, no, I don't think it's productive at all. I believe you have to deal in ideas. Ideas have consequences. Bad ideas have bad consequences, and good ideas have good consequences. And that's what I deal with, because I just as soon avoid the partisan bickering.
Congressman Paul, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.